Hello and welcome to the Big Four. I'm Austin.
I'm Grayson.
And I'm Jake.
And I'm Ricky. It's November 9th,
He's
2018.
Jake.
I am sadly that.
Do you have a Pepsi sponsorship for us today,
Yeah.
my friend?
Well, there's no can, but I got a nice little
We got a fresh bottle?
I can't
Nice
even hear your
bottle here.
microphone. Is it even plugged in again?
Yeah, it's plugged in.
Is his mic etiquette that bad?
I don't think it could
I
possibly...
guess so. I guess so.
I mean, I can hear him.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I
I'm
can.
all the way up.
All the way up. Please don't.
Nothing
All right.
can stop me.
Man.
It was two audible groans at the same time. All right, so we're here. Baseball free agencies in full swing. I know a lot of people want to talk about that. And by a lot of people, I mean Jake.
Was that a pun?
I mean, it
Baseball
was
in
a
swing.
full
it was a
swing.
pun, but I didn't mean it.
Is the count full? Is he working it?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm working it pretty hard.
Oh my God, your mic etiquette is just.
What, man?
He starts talking like 4 feet back, and he's like, "Oh, I gotta talk into this thing."
I gotta
Every
come
time.
to it.
How did Jesse work with this?
I don't know. I think he just didn't, right?
Well, I guess I thought we did pretty well.
He's gonna actually like
Austin
edit
will
the
listen to it later, and
Yeah.
then he'll be like, "Oh well,
I listen to every Jesse
we
show.
couldn't hear you."
I hope Jesse hears that because I mean it. Your show is great, Jesse. It's almost like you have years of radio experience.
He's gonna be on. He'll probably be on our show by the end of the semester.
I hope. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a great idea. I think he.
Yeah, he's gonna
well,
replace me, right?
Yeah, I talked to him about it.
He's gonna
The
replace
only-
me.
He can read. So
That's
he
true. That is one thing he definitely
And he
has
watches
over
ho-
me.
he
And
watch-
he watches hockey. That's
watches
two
hockey.
things in his
That's the
favor.
big
Wow,
one.
yeah,
That's what I care about.
I don't know how I still have a spot on the show when he's available.
because Mark's not here.
That's true, actually.
Sorry, you illiterate friend.
Hey, man. Listen, the only good thing about me versus Mark is that I actually pay attention to football, too. So I do have that going for me.
This is true.
This
So-
is true. Yep. Okay. So, is there anything you guys want to just go straight into baseball free agency? Because I know Jake was waiting last week to do this week. You got anything, Jake?
Yeah. We
Yeah.
got-
Oh, sorry, guys.
Man,
So,
he's still doing it,
like,
It's incredible.
right?
what? Excuse me. So, what I wanted to kind of like go over, and Austin, you wrote free agency is in full swing. The Dodgers sadly got to retain Clayton Kershaw on that 3-year deal where he's going to make over $30 million for the next 3 years.
Yeah.
So,
A year.
Yeah. So he is. It sucks. That kind of really depletes the whole like interest for the pitching side because now Patrick Corbin and Dallas Keuchel are both the two best starting pitchers on the market. Which, if you're a team like the Yankees and you need a starting pitcher, it really sucks. And we'll get into more of that kind of stuff.
Get into more of the Yankee stuff.
No, just
there's-
more of like
There's
more-
quite a few contenders
I
who
know.
need
I
that
was just-
third man. I mean, the
yeah.
Nats need a third man.
right.
I was just laughing at Jake for bringing the Yankees up in it.
Well, I'm just using them. As
I mean,
as
the
an
Red Sox
example.
rotation, it's terrible. They need a. I'm just kidding. That was a joke.
Yeah.
A little humor for you.
Who's the best reliever available in the free agent pool right now?
Kimbrel.
Yeah, 100%.
Wow.
Kimbrel's agent is pitching him to teams saying that he's the greatest closer of all time.
You are
And
literally...
as my favorite Yankee is Mariano Rivera, I vomit.
Yeah.
I vomit.
I vomit.
Man,
all the
who was the saves leader before him?
Trevor Hoffman.
Yeah, I'd argue he's better than Kimbrel.
Well,
I watched.
I mean,
Listen,
obviously
listen,
those two are better than Kimbrel.
I
but
watched Kimbrel pitch
I was about to
this
say-
postseason. Like he did not look like the best closer ever.
You didn't like his little wing.
Man, I don't know what he's doing with his arms.
I mean, if he wants
but
to come home, I won't complain.
Yeah,
you want Kimbrel
exactly.
back?
If he wants to go back to Atlanta,
we should send him back to San Diego.
Kimbrel or Trevor Hoffman.
Kimbrel.
Oh,
Hoffman retired a bunch of years ago,
yeah,
right?
but he was the Padres closer.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
I don't know what you're saying.
We should send Kimbrel back to the Padres so he can just sit there
Who's
and rock.
we? Are you involved with this discussion?
I'm confused. Kimbrel was a Brave.
Yeah, no, he was a Brave first. Then he was with the
So you're
Padres
saying-
for a
so-
year.
What?
Yeah, he pitched for the Padres for 1 year, I believe.
Did I miss something?
They signed him. It was in the huge free agency spending where they got Kemp.
Did I miss something?
Bud
Am I
Black was-
blanking?
Bud
Am I-
Black was their
Am I
manager.
dumb? Am I an idiot? I think I am.
Probably, but
Probably.
That was the thing in like 2015, I want to say.
But anyway, so the whole Kershaw thing, the whole Kershaw signing to remain with the Dodgers, excuse me again. That leads to a couple other interesting reports, and that is from Buster Only of ESPN, and he says that the Mariners and the Cleveland Indians interestingly enough, are considering tearing it all down.
See, I'm
I
surprised.
saw the Mariners stuff. I didn't see anything
I
about
don't know.
Cleveland.
Like,
Yeah.
both those teams really surprised me because it's like they haven't really reached their. I mean, I guess the Indians sort of did reach the contention when they had the World
No,
Series.
I think the Mariners make more sense to tear it down.
The
'cause
Mariners
I don't
has really
think.
surprised me because it's like I felt like they haven't really peaked yet.
Well,
that was the thing.
that's the thing. I don't think. I think they see where that peak is, and it's not high enough.
So if that's the thing, if they honestly think their peak isn't high enough, then you absolutely blow it up. I'll
I
100%
think
advocate
that's
for
the case.
blowing
I don't
it
know,
up.
Jake Grayson. You think the same about the peak not being high enough?
I don't know. I mean, they didn't have Cano at all last. Oh, I say it all. They didn't have really Cano. They'll get him back. But
Stop talking.
how? I mean, it depends on how better they
didn't
think
mean
they can get, and how long they want to take.
Yeah.
Like those
so-
Seattle fans are hungry.
well, the thing with the Mariners is their core is pretty old, right? It's like did they still have Nelson Cruz? He's still there?
Yes,
Okay.
Yeah,
so it's
Cruz
like,
was there, and
so
it's
like
so
Nelson
bad
Cruz,
that-
Robinson Cano.
the King Felix.
That's true. I forgot about Felix. Shout out I think he has like a 10-win Cy Young season or something in like 2011. That was pretty wild.
I am.
But no, it's like their core is kind of old, and they haven't really they haven't made the postseason since like 2014 or something, right? It's been a while
It's
for
been
the
a
Mariners.
long time since they've made the playoffs.
So my apologies to Ricky. I totally forgot about that terrible that terrible San Diego team. I must have blocked it out because I'm sure I was like loving it when it was happening in free
I
agency.
mean, I don't blame you.
And then
Padres pushed all their chips into the table on a garbage
And it
free agent
didn't
class,
work.
and just they finished I think like
that is so
35
funny.
games below 500 or something.
That is so.
What was their
bad.
actual record that year? Do you know?
The Pods?
Yeah.
Obviously, they didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah, they did not
I
make the
imagine they
playoffs.
probably finished third at best.
I think
They're
they might have had like a 60-win season or something. I'm pretty
That
sure
is
they were
so
garbage
funny.
that year.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, Kimbrel had 39 saves that year. So, anyway, so I wanted to give you credit on that.
No
But
problem.
going back to what I was talking about with the Indians and the Mariners,
Yeah.
it does make more sense for the Mariners to tear it down. They're not getting anywhere. They're not going to get over the hump of Houston with the current roster, especially
Definitely
because
not.
their starting
Jeez.
pitching is not what it is not what it should be, and not what I'm sure that they planned it to be.
Aside from Paxton,
Right, and that's what I was going to get into, is that James Paxton's your best starting pitcher, and then after him, the margin goes way down. So, like, Mike Leake is your number 2.
Canadian legend.
That's actually terrifying.
Right, you know what I mean? Like, Mike Leake is like arguably your second or third best, and then you have King Felix, or at least the corpse of King Felix.
Yeah, there you go.
Which is so sad.
Borrow
It
some of my
is so
terminology.
sad, because Felix Hernandez was so good.
He really was so good,
And to
especially
see
in the
him...
early teens or whatever. He was
Right.
fantastic.
And to see what he is now is very, very, very disappointing. And then going to the Indians, when I read it initially, it made no sense. I was like, what are they thinking? They have arguably one of the top 3 rotations in baseball, and it just made no sense to me when I was reading it, and because it's perplexing, right? Like, you're sitting there and you're like, wow, we've won our division all these years in a row. We were in the World Series back in 2016.
Yeah, it's not that long ago.
You have Terry Francona. What exactly are you trying to do? You've said that if you were to tear it down, you'd try to retain Lindor and Jose Ramirez, which are 2 players that obviously you're going to try to retain, being that they're both all-stars, both MVPs.
And they're both younger than 26.
I believe so. But getting rid of Kluber, and of course, the report right after that was that Brian Cashman was sitting down with the GM of Cleveland, and his name's escaping me right now, but to talk about Corey Kluber. And of course, that's such a Yankee thing
It really
to do.
is.
You know, like the second something comes out, it's like, I'm already there. I'm already on a plane going to Cleveland.
Brian Cashman was probably there before the news broke.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's Brian Cashman.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Frankly, to be honest with you, I think it's more realistic to think that the Yankees would get James Paxton as opposed to getting Corey Kluber, but that's only
I
because
agree.
I feel like since Corey Kluber is a Cy Young candidate consistently, and James Paxton has been really good the last 2 seasons.
And he's really kind of almost the face of that franchise.
Yeah,
To an extent.
Yeah.
James Paxton kind of is for his team too, but it's not quite the same because they keep
Right.
making the playoffs.
right. And
How
the
old is
exposure.
Paxton? Sorry.
I think he's maybe 30. He's
Okay.
not. He's not old. He's not young. I think.
All right.
He
I
did-
don't
he-
know
remember he
actually
caught a
anything about
bird?
Paxton.
He's
He's
30.
30 years
Nail on the
old.
head.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's 30 years old.
He's from Delta, Canada, wherever the heck that is. Oh,
So-
it's British Columbia. Oh, wow. He's like almost a hometown hero.
Yeah, look at that. So
So
Paxton does a little bit make more sense because I'm assuming
Yeah.
the price tag is going to be a lot lower than it would be on Kluber.
yeah, I mean, You could
Almost
definitely
Seattle.
put together a good little trade package for him. I'm
Okay.
sure they'd have to give up.
Turn your ringer off.
Jeez. Jay.
Oh, was that me? Sorry, guys. So it was because I was trying to play all that Nirvana before the show.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway,
Oh, man.
so going to so going back to James Paxton, it makes more sense. I agree with you on that because he's lesser of a star than Corey Kluber is. So
Yeah.
I mean, you could definitely and you could put together a package, and I mentioned this very briefly before I got off track.
How-
was they could throw in Justice Sheffield and maybe Greg Bird to try to get him as like the main focal points of that trade package.
How good is the Yankees youth pool? I genuinely have no
our farm
idea.
system's
no
really
idea.
is pretty deep.
Yeah.
Yeah. They like I said, Justice Sheffield is our best pitching prospect. So to give him up for James Paxton would be interesting. Personally, when he got called up from AAA, where he was dominant, he was so dominant in AAA. He didn't look as well, but I also think that had to do with the whole like I'm in the Bronx, right? Like there's a huge stepstone from going from Scranton to playing in Yankee Stadium, and I think that if he went to a smaller market team, like if he was to play at Safeco, I feel like he could be a really good pitcher there. Not saying that he couldn't do it in the Bronx, but I'm just saying like if the trade was to happen, he would absolutely be worth it.
Well, Safeco is much more of a pitcher-friendly park than
That's also
Yankee
true.
Stadium is.
Yeah, that's also very true. They I mean it helps, right? It helps
Yeah, I mean,
it helps
it
to not
definitely
have
helps.
it helps to not have like a 325
Yeah,
right
right.
field.
And everyone
so-
and their mother is a pull hitter to right nowadays.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about off the bat.
Yeah, regarding with the Indians and Mariners.
So
anyway.
and then of course like Bryce Harper news.
Big name.
We
Yeah.
can talk about the mega deal of 10 years, $300
was
million.
Not much of
With
a,
no
with no
opt-outs.
opt-out.
That was the thing. Like $300 million. Yeah. Okay.
that's pretty respectable.
That's a kind of almost. That's a mega deal in its own right. With no opt-outs, no,
Definitely is
it doesn't give a mega deal in my eyes.
That was I mean, I thought that was the real deal breaker for Bryce. Is he doesn't have any
Yeah.
opt-outs. Where it's like if I don't know when they would have started, like maybe year 6.
No, probably 3 or 4
Okay.
is what he wants, and then he wants another option around 7-ish,
Okay.
probably.
But yeah, that's the biggest thing for Bryce. It's like he's entering the prime of his career, right? Like he's been a little bit rocky recently, but with him, it's like my only goal is to get a lot of money and play for a team that's contending for titles.
Which it's a tough act.
Yeah,
I mean, you can't get both at the same. It's hard to get both at the
Yeah,
same time.
it's definitely
unless you want
it
another
really
team
li-
to blow themselves up.
It really limits your
Yeah.
options.
So
And going off that, he definitely wants opt-outs, or he wants a long-term. I mean, I don't know if you guys read. Well, you probably didn't, but 538 came out with a really interesting article where they were talking about how 30-something free agents had their 32-year plus free agents had their like worst year since 1975. It's like a steep decline. They're getting less minutes. It's the game's turning younger very rapidly, with the exception of like pitching,
right.
because that's always kind of
Yeah, pitching
an older man's game anyway.
Mhm.
Older man's, but apparently it's happening, and I think it's kind of evident. You see a lot of older-ish guys retiring, and I don't see as many. I see a lot of youth, and it's being pretty consistent in the turnover.
Well, it's funny that you said that because one of the touted corner outfielders in this market is Nick Markakis,
What the?
which is so
What?
crazy to say. No, seriously.
Yeah.
And it's because
He's
he's
a free
coming off
agent.
of such a good
coming
year.
out
How
of a
old?
career
Well, I mean,
year.
yeah, we're not talking superstars though. We're talking about like
No.
filler positions.
Yeah.
They're all young. I mean,
Yeah.
we're not talking Nick Markakis. Not every guy's Nick Markakis.
How old is Nick? He's
No.
like 32 now.
36, I think.
36.
Seriously?
Yeah,
Wow, I can't
he's
believe
closer to 40 than
I
he is
can't
to
believe I
30.
lowballed him that
that-
badly.
That is really old for an outfielder.
34.
34.
For
Okay.
a non-position
And I
player.
believe Adam Jones is up there too.
Yeah, Adam Jones is definitely up there. I think he might be 33.
But yeah. But Harper, I mean,
Harper's what,
33.
26?
26.
26.
Harper's 26.
Yeah.
Harper's 26, and
So is Manny.
Manny's also 26.
yeah, but one of them is a lot better than the other.
Yeah, Manny's I think a considerably better player than Bryce.
I think that they're both in the same tier in regards to being like they're not S tier, right? They're not God status,
No.
like
Okay.
Mike Trout is.
So,
but
but
they're-
There's only
they're-
one God
they're,
status.
They're
So
they're
it-
A tier.
So it's like what's
They're
the S
low
tier
A
then?
tier.
One of them strikes out in the World Series. The other one doesn't get to the World Series.
Bryce just can't do it by himself. That's
yeah.
the problem.
Yeah.
Manny,
Yeah,
Manny couldn't do it.
I
by
mean,
himself
it's.
either.
I think it's not to draw an unjust parallel, but it's kind of like the Ovi thing. Ovi's always showed up in the playoffs. His team hasn't.
right.
And Bryce, I think it was definitely last year where I think during the entire postseason, Trey Turner went like 2 for 16 or something ridiculous.
It's pretty good.
I mean, yeah. And then I mean, it was across the board where it was just the team sucked, including Bryce. He
Yeah.
was not good in that the Chicago series. Nobody was good except Michael A. Taylor.
That was
That's a
such an
problem.
awesome Grand Slam.
Oh, it was one of the coolest Grand Slams ever.
But so I like that notion though of like how the MLB is getting younger. You're right, because if you look at, and I know I'd keep doing this, but if you look at the Yankees, the baby
It's
bombers,
fine. It's what you know.
the baby bombers. You know what I mean? So you have Andujar, Gleyber Torres at second, and Aaron Judge in your outfield, and Gary Sanchez behind the plate.
Aaron Judge is so much older than I always think he is.
Yeah, he's like 24 or something.
He's 24, 25, something like that.
It's also the baby Braves.
It's a second year baseball, but that's the thing. The
Yeah,
thing that I've really
with
noticed.
Albus and Acuna.
Albies and Acuna.
One of the things that I've really noticed about baseball.
He's
trends
26, by the
is-
way.
Wow.
26. So he's the same age as Bryce Harper.
But he started playing way later.
Yeah, Bryce
Well,
has
the
like 3 more pro years.
Well, I mean, he also was in the Yankees farm.
He was in the Yankees farm
Yeah.
system, and
Doesn't help.
On second that, and then
Bryce Harper walked into an awful team.
Bryce Harper walked on an awful team. I remember that whole thing about like, oh, he shouldn't even be playing rookie A ball. He should be in Double A, at least Triple A. Blah blah blah. I'm like, man, he's only 18 years old.
Good time.
You know, like the Yankees definitely took their time with Aaron Judge, but at the same time, they had to do that because he couldn't hit a breaking ball.
Well, and I mean, the Yankees are the Yankees.
That's true too.
They,
can
they
afford
could pay
to.
for a good team.
He had people in front of him blocking his way the whole way
So
through.
what I was going to talk about with baseball is one of the things I've noticed trending over the couple of years is call-ups seem to be happening at a much earlier age for a lot of players.
Yeah,
Well, I didn't-
I've definitely.
I-
I mean, Juan Soto, Ronald
Yeah, I was thinking
Acuna.
about
I
Sono
said-
and Acuna, and
well,
we had Bellinger last year, right?
Yeah.
Bellinger's only like 21 last
He's
year
pretty
when he
young.
got called
Trey,
up.
Trey Turner's really
Yeah,
young
Turner's
too, isn't
also I think like 2022, something like
he?
that.
Yeah.
Well,
It's like shortstops.
I'd said before the season even started that Ronald Acuna should be the starting center fielder for Atlanta. Like
Yeah.
I didn't understand why they didn't bring him up and
Starting center fielder?
Yeah.
Because they have NCRT in center.
Just
Acuna
outfielder.
played left.
Oh yeah, you're right. Okay, so I mean you could put either or either way. It doesn't matter. But anyway, but that's what I thought. I was like Ronald Acuna should be playing.
He played really
at the
well in
majors.
spring training.
Right, and that's what I was saying too. He's like the MVP of your spring training squad. There's no reason to send him down unless there's some kind of unless it's like a Chris Bryant situation. I don't know if you guys remember
Let's
this.
send him down and sign
where-
Joey Bats.
Well, no, like I don't know if you guys remember this, but Theo Epstein chose to send Chris Bryant down until May. That way, he didn't have to pay him
Yeah.
as much money.
Yeah,
like there
that's
was like a
a-
significant money, like there's a significant pay cut that he took. Like I think he missed out on like $1.5 million or
Yeah.
something that he saved from not calling up.
I don't
Chris
even
Bryant.
remember
It was
who
crazy.
started. I think Preston Tucker started a lot. Ryan Flaherty started at third to start the year for Atlanta.
What a weird team you
Jake's-
guys had initially. That's so strange.
Jake's probably right about the
It's
Acuna
so weird
thing.
that you guys panned out to win the division. I mean, it definitely helped that the Nats sucked, but
In
it was
regards
it was an
to-
odd team.
the Chris Bryant
Wasn't
situation.
I like
in
that team.
Chicago,
Yeah.
like
It's
the
a great
whole
team.
It's a fun team.
dodging the pay thing. I think that's
Mhm.
an actual problem is that you can actually abuse that,
Oh,
like the
yeah.
call-up deadline. And I think it's
Mhm.
something that needs to be looked at because I don't think it's healthy, particularly
Well,
because it's like some super arbitrary. We're gonna like low-key gimp the development of one of our players to avoid paying him more, so we can be more competitive in the future. And I think it's kind of a bad look.
Sure.
Like, is it savvy front office work? Yeah, but at the same time, it's like Chris Bryant deserves that extra $1.5 million.
see, he does, but at the same time, if you're Theo Epstein, like that million, that whatever it was, I mean, that's
No,
helping
listen,
you
listen,
pay
I'm
Joe
not-
Madden. That's helping you pay Anthony Rizzo.
I'm not blaming Epstein for doing it. What I'm saying is I think it's something that the league office maybe should look at in the future if it continues to be like this, where people are like cutting corners in terms of when they're calling up rookies on teams that are contending
So
in
back
order to avoid paying them. Anyway, yeah,
back to Bryce Harper.
Yeah.
Where's he going?
So there are so many different options, right? And everybody keeps you guys. If you guys want to, you guys can name some of the mainstream options, and I'll tell you why they're either right or wrong.
Okay, let's start with the obvious, Nats.
So the Nats, right? The Nats don't have the capital really to give him that 35 a year. They can give him maybe 30, maybe 32,
They could do 32,
which
especially if they don't re-sign Rodon.
which to be honest with you, you don't need him. You know
We
what I mean?
really don't.
You don't need him. And the whole 10-year thing, if he's offended by that, which a lot of people were a lot of people are agreeing with Austin in the fact that they don't need Bryce Harper.
I personally, I mean, you could spend that $30 million and divide that up into, or the $35 million and divide it up into a really good starting pitcher, re-signing Rendon and re-signing Juan Soto when the time comes, and Trey Turner, who's still on a rookie deal.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of money that I would rather spend on those players. I think.
Exactly.
I mean, one player isn't worth those three
Right,
or
and
four.
it's not
I
like-
mean, their WAR is not that good unless you're Mike Trout.
You have the option. You actually have a lot more luxury than a lot of Nats realize, and that's the fact that you have Victor Robles, who you can bring up and place in that
Yes.
spot. And granted, he's not Bryce Harper, but at the same time, you don't know what he could be. At
Well,
this point.
you have an outfield right now of oh my god, I'm blanking. Well, Juan Soto, Adam Eaton, Robles, and then on the bench you have Michael Eaton,
yeah.
who's a Golden Glove defender. I mean,
Mhm.
Golden Glove caliber. He hasn't won one, but I mean, he's that good at defending.
yeah.
He's an offensive liability, but his
Right.
defense is great.
Yeah, and that's a problem. But I think that they're really good about balancing that stuff out, especially because Taylor's fast. So it's like
so quick.
So it's like you can put him in there in like the 8th as like a pinch hitter, and then you can move him out and then take whoever you want to out. Like you could sit Eaton if you wanted to, or whoever. It doesn't matter.
Injury prone Eaton.
Very, very versatile. The Nats could be if they don't sign him.
And I mean,
But the fact of the matter is, if you're giving him the low end of the acceptable amount of
Mhm.
money for a mega deal, he's probably not going to take it.
and I think a lot of Nats fans, not to go on this too long, are forgetting that we traded Gio Gonzalez.
yeah.
That our third pitcher is Tanner Roark. Tanner Roark's good, but he's not third. He shouldn't be third in the rotation in a championship caliber team.
and Joe Ross.
Joe Ross is. He's looking
If
He's looking
healthy,
sharp.
if
Yeah,
he's
he's looking
healthy.
sharp. I mean, he's a good 5.
But what I've been saying to you actually has been if you could find a way to not pay Bryce, right, or bring in Keuchel
Oh my
or
God.
Sounds
Sounds
Corbin,
amazing.
whoever.
Both.
Yeah, sure,
Yeah, both.
sure, have
Just-
fun.
Forget it.
But yeah, that or you guys could try and piece together like bring back Wilson Ramos to replace terrible Matt Wieters. I mean, you guys,
Yeah, I mean, oh yeah, I didn't even mention. I mean, we've got just a massive gaping hole
Yeah.
at catcher.
yeah. So
I mean, yeah.
I don't know if you guys would be interested in trying to get Real Muto. but-
Hands off. Hands off.
Oh no, we were last season.
Yeah,
It was a
yeah, I
big
remember.
point when the big fire sale was happening. That's what we were trying to do.
It just sucks.
That was going to be the big offseason move that didn't pan out.
Jeter's so against trading in division, and it makes sense. But at the same time, if you're fire sailing, you gotta get what you can get.
They're still doing
And
that.
they
They're not done
they
yet.
would have gotten a lot. I think they would have
Yeah.
gotten what's his face, not Robles, but the guy who's number 2 on our farm. Dang, I can't remember.
Is
He's
it a
So-
pitching
really short,
prospect?
but- what?
Is it a pitching prospect?
No, he's a pitcher.
Well,
I mean,
I'll-
sorry, he's a shortstop.
Moving from that, I want to tell about like how I've been saying that like Bryce Harper's going to the Cubs is like
Yeah.
a joke.
Yeah.
Bryce Harper's not going to the Cubs.
No,
and the
no
reason
way.
he's not going to the Cubs is because Chicago's not paying the luxury tax. They don't.
No, they don't want him,
They have no interest in paying it.
especially when their team is as good as they are.
Exactly. They don't need him. Joe Madden knows they don't need him. So, and then you go to the Dodgers. The Dodgers isn't a natural fit because there's just so many outfielders in LA.
Yeah, they really don't need another one.
So many outfielders there. They don't need him. Just like they don't need Manny Machado. They're not bringing him back because what
I'm
I was
trying
telling
to-
Grayson is that they have Corey Seager who's coming back. Corey Seager going into
Yeah,
the year,
he got out,
he was a dark horse NL MVP candidate going into the season.
and then he tore his. What did he tear?
I can't remember.
It
but-
was season ending.
Exactly. It's significant enough for a season-ending injury. He's going to be back, and I'm not going to say he's going to be better, but he's going to be just as good.
He's gonna be good.
So he's not going to LA. San Francisco's interesting because they do have some cap that they could spend on him, but
However-
but their new GM has an analytic background, and everybody knows with analytics, it's not about spending money; it's about growing in your farm.
And San Francisco, they're not contenders right now. They're not even close.
Well, so they're
Well,
they're a weird case because
yeah.
they still have Madison Baumgartner right
Yeah.
now. They have whatever Evan Longoria brings. They have Cueto. They have Samardzija. They have what's his name?
They have
I can't remember. It
A
doesn't
pretty
matter.
decent catcher.
Yeah. I mean, that Buster Posey guy's pretty good.
He's
So
pretty good.
you have those kind of pieces in place. They just need to identify what exactly they want to be, and they have that problem because they're still on the whole like, oh, every even year, and
We're still doing that?
well, that's the thing that they shouldn't be. But
Okay.
at the same time, it's like the San Francisco generally believed going into this year that signing or trading for Andrew McCutchen and trading for Evan Longoria as well helped them. And I was like, this doesn't help you. This is you guys trying to be George Steinbrenner's Yankees. This is not.
Yeah. This
You're bringing in these guys and they're well in their 30s, well past
Yeah.
their primes. Granted, don't get me wrong, I loved McCutchen this
Cut-
entire season. Like he was great, especially after he got traded to the Yankees. But Evan Longoria really hasn't been Evan Longoria. He's not
Right.
the title guy on the show.
So who is
Sorry.
Bryce going to? I'm just.
I know
We're
I
already
keep
spent
tangenting.
25 minutes. No,
Right.
it's all good. We're all doing it.
I generally believe that he's going to go to Philly. I really do.
I agree.
And it sucks because I know Philly Philly would really love to have Mike Trout instead. I'm sure Mike Trout kind of feels the same way, but at the same time, you have the money now. You need this guy to.
There's
help
no
you get
there's
over
no
the hump.
assurance of
And there's
Mike Trout.
exactly. There's no
When is he at free agency next year?
Yeah, next year.
But there's nothing set in stone that he's going to leave Anaheim. While with Washington, all signs, a lot of signs point to the fact
The
that
writing's
he's
kind of on the wall,
Right.
especially
I
with
don't
the
know.
rejection of the offer.
I think it's no. I don't think. Well, Scott Boras, his free agents have, or his agents, or the people.
His
Oh my
clients.
God! Yeah, thank you. The people who he represents have almost always consistently makes them test free agency. That's not rare
Right.
when it's his clients.
Yeah.
So I saw that and I was like, oh, he rejected it, and then I saw the details, and then I saw the statistics about how many Scott Boras clients actually test free agency, and then I was like, all right, it's not as bad as I thought.
right.
I mean,
It's,
I'm with most Nats fans. Like,
Yeah.
I would love to sign him. I would love to not sign him.
yeah, it's
I just want something to be done so we can actually make some offseason moves.
Okay.
it's fair to believe that he's going to get like 36.5 maybe from Philly, maybe 3.7. I think 400's a lot for a
It's a
guy that
lot.
doesn't have that bats 270.
Yeah.
You know, it is what it is. The White Sox are also in there too, but they're going to probably offer around 36, which is
I'm
interesting
surprised the
because
White Sox would even offer.
exactly because they don't their pitching staff is not very
not even
good.
that, it's
They're not contenders.
The White Sox
Not even
themselves
close. They
aren't
were like one of the
generally
last.
that good.
They were one of the worst teams in the league last year.
But him and Jose Abreu together would be really fun to
Yeah,
watch.
Cool,
But, I mean, I don't know,
whatever.
it's the same
Home
thing.
runs, baby.
All right, is
home
Manny
runs.
Machado going to the Yankees?
So I asked this to my Magic 8 Ball earlier today, and it said, Jake, all signs point to yes. And then I broke it. So he's going to be a Yankee. He tells all his friends that that's his dream. He's like, I want to be a Yankee. I want to play in the Bronx. I wanna blah, blah, blah. Shut up, Manny.
Is he a starting pitcher now?
So Didi Gregorius is hurt. He's not going to be playing until like June.
Oh, really?
Going into the year.
I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah, he had off-season surgery
like
after
Didi.
the playoffs. Love Didi Gregorius.
Oh, Gary Sanchez also had surgery.
Yeah, Gary Sanchez went in for surgery as well. But so Manny Machado is going to be a more natural fit with the Yankees, being that he can play short. A lot of people are saying, oh, they'll put him at third, whatever. He'll probably play third when Didi Gregorius comes back. But as of right now, he's going to be the shortstop for the Yankees on opening day. And Andujar is going to play in third for now. But what I think is going to end up happening ultimately is that they're going to move Andujar to the outfield. Although Manny could also play left, I think.
Yeah, that's going to say the natural fit for me seemed to be if the infield's too crowded, you kick Gardner out of left, and then you saw whichever one of Andujar
And I
or
think-
Machado you don't want
I
it.
think Brett Gardner's at the point in his career
Third
where
there.
he understands that that he's more.
Yeah, if he's just your platoon
of a-
guy and
yeah,
like a clubhouse
platoon.
leader, then I think that's a pretty good role for him.
So I think Judge, Hicks, either Andujar or Machado in left when
Brett Gardner.
Didi comes back, and on top of that you have Didi
Biggest
Gregorius is a
forehead in the
contract year.
maybe.
Well,
No, Brett Gardner does
he
have the
does.
biggest forehead.
He
does
have
Okay.
a big
It's
forehead.
massive. It's a 7-head.
So it's as of right now, Manny Machado probably will become a Yankee. Not saying that I'm happy about it.
My
Not saying that
condolences,
I'm
dude.
not
You
saying
know-
I'm sad about it either. So.
You know what that would make, Austin? Not only would Jake be
You know what? You're
a
right.
Penguins fan who houses Sidney Crosby,
Oh.
what if he also housed Manny Machado?
Oh, that's so disgusting.
I could be hypercritical of him though, with him being on my
That's
team.
true.
God, his forehead's huge,
So
man.
Same
if he's not
reason.
on the fight list by the end of the year,
He's already on the fight
already
list.
on the
He's
fight
on the
list.
fight list right now.
but like as a Yankee fight list.
See, yeah, like that's so.
Like if he goes to the Yankees, he's
You
just
know-
still on the fight list.
Yeah.
If I referred to my father, right, I'd be like, "Yo, Dad, how do you feel about this, this, and this?" He'd yell off a lot of expletives and be like, "Oh, he's a bum, blah blah blah. You get paid." Especially talking about Gary Sanchez. He hates Gary Sanchez. So it's not fair to say. I mean, I'm a New York fan. New York fans have their fight lists for their teams. It just
absolutely
is
true.
what it is. Like Kelvin Benjamin's on my fight list. He plays for Buffalo. Like I still enjoy watching. I'm still a Buffalo fan.
Probably adding another Bill to the fight list today.
Oh, more. I mean, it depends on if we get there. Again, I wasn't
should-
supposed to
I
talk
want to.
today, but Twitter told me I could.
well,
so
I'm
voted-
not part of that Twitter that told you could.
Yeah.
I voted yes. Did you vote yes?
Ricky voted
did.
no.
I
Man,
voted
y'all
yes.
letting the show down. I can't believe you guys.
All right.
So let's move on from baseball.
yeah,
We spent way too much time.
Only
and I
half an hour.
apologize
Well,
for that.
it was. We planned to talk a lot about free agency this week, so I'm not sorry. Screw it. I put it in the description. That's all we're talking
Well,
about today.
There's not a lot of NFL stuff to talk about.
Well, there's one big game.
We're in like the meat of the NFL season.
true.
But it's I don't know.
Did you watch the game Sunday?
No.
Bum. Did you watch the game?
of course.
Yeah. Good answer. Did you watch the game? Oh, you were on a train. You have an excuse.
You were on the train. That was probably the best football game I've seen in the NFL in years.
Agreed. It was the second best game I've seen this season.
Okay. What was your first game?
Easy. He knows it.
Yep. Week 1, Cleveland, Pittsburgh.
So good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's what I would describe that game as.
It was so good.
It
Oh my
was-
god,
it
watching
was-
Cleveland
it was
come out that way.
It was incredibly entertaining.
I need more NFL ties.
My favorite game this season was when Josh Allen beat the Vikings. But
It was when he hurdled Anthony Barr.
yes, absolutely. Air
So
Allen,
cool.
boy. Anyway,
And then you
But
sat
yeah,
there
no,
and you
since-
looked at
since
it
we're-
like,
since
That
we're-
season was fantastic. Or
since-
that game was fantastic Sunday.
since we're on the NFL, let's. I just want to ask you guys, what does Des Bryant do for the Saints?
Very little.
What?
well, no, that's
He does a little. I mean, he's not going to change the offense. The offense is
No,
good.
of course.
He's a good option to have alongside Mike Thomas.
That's-
He doesn't revolutionize his offense in any way. He gives him another option.
That's not what I was getting at. What I'm saying is like, does the signing of Des Bryant make them the NFC favorite?
No.
No,
Not with the Rams there.
they beat them.
Oh,
Okay, so here's the thing.
come
Okay, so the biggest thing. So on Thursday, I kind of reprimanded Austin for picking the Rams in that game because I feel like the Superdome is literally the last place any NFL team wants to play right now if your name isn't the New Orleans Saints.
Right.
And that's the biggest thing. That was the only reason I felt like the Saints were favored in that game. The thing that Des Bryant adds to the Saints is he adds some mad, unpredictable like volatility because he's either going to give you nothing, at which point your 1 year, $1 million contract doesn't matter because it's not a lot of money, or
then it was a great deal.
or you get 80% of peak Des Bryant, which means you have the 9th best receiver in football.
Where did you get 9?
See,
from?
I don't see like.
I don't think he's
there's,
that good,
There's
man.
some mid ground in there.
That's
but
the
what
thing.
I'm saying is that
It's like there probably is some mid ground, but that's the thing. It's like is a high volatility signing where he potentially raises the Saints ceiling a lot. And if he's just bad, the worst thing that you do is you sit there and you look at him and you try to get him to shut up in the locker room.
So I don't believe that Des Bryant is going to be a locker room distraction. I think this is a different Des. I think this is a more humble Des
mean,
because he realizes that the league is
Okay,
changing.
that's an oxymoron, but whatever.
I hope. Listen. I
Humble
hope.
Des.
I hope he's more humble and like I hope he's more quiet and hope we don't have any locker room distractions. I,
really-
don't think it's gonna be there, but I'm just saying like I feel like that's the worst case scenario, right? Is he doesn't do
Yeah.
anything and he's a problem in the locker room, at which point you just try to get
I
him to
think
shut
it
up.
helps that it's a 1-year deal.
Right.
Yeah.
So he
Yeah.
doesn't have that security. He has to show it.
Yeah.
But
It's a
what
contract
I
year.
have circled on my calendar, week 13, Thursday
Yes.
night,
Yeah.
Yes.
Everyone
New
has that
Orleans,
schedule.
Dallas.
New Orleans in Dallas too. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm expecting
That's the
some
first thing Mello and
some
I looked up
reacts.
when that news broke.
I think the
I bet
it's like when were they playing?
because that was one of the big reasons that he didn't want to sign with Baltimore. If you
Yeah.
remember, because he wanted to play the Cowboys out of just being petty.
I think
And
Out
Cowboys
of being
fans will
Des
actually
Bryant.
give him an ovation.
maybe
No. Well,
I think they
know.
will.
is it in Dallas?
Yeah, it's in Dallas.
Yeah.
It depends on how he talks in the weeks leading up to the game.
I really don't think that that's going to be an issue. I really think Des Bryant, like I said, he's been sitting at home.
Yeah.
He realizes that he's not this perennial superstar
He's not
that people
God.
got to have, right?
Yeah.
So knowing that, it's fair to say that Des Bryant is going to be a better version of himself in his older age, right? He's just like this older guy. What I'm expecting to happen with the offense is that Mike Thomas is going to command the presence of the number one corner
Yeah,
on opposing
and
teams.
safety coverage
And-
too, probably.
Right. So that double coverage comes over, and then on top of that, you have Des Bryant on the opposite side of the field. being
that's what I
covered by
think he
number
adds.
twos, and he's
Yeah,
like, okay, well, I'm
that's-
Des Bryant, so I'm gonna do this, or I'm gonna go on a streak in the red zone. I also said on Jesse's show earlier that he provides a red zone threat that they haven't had since arguably Jimmy Graham.
Yeah, he's literally some tight end looking wide receiver that you can just post up on basically every corner and safety they're going to put on him.
He is not a Popeye's biscuit away. Okay, he's eating the Popeye's biscuit. He's there. He's,
Popeye's biscuit. It's still the best booger thing that happened this season. And he said the thing about peeing in his pants.
Yeah.
I mean,
Shout out Booger McFarland.
How
dude.
did he up that by that line? The Popeye's biscuit away.
Popeye's biscuit away from being
So-
a tight end?
I definitely.
yeah, no,
thought
that's-
this
I'm-
was a fun.
that's-
It's a good sign.
It's a good signing. I agree because he actually, I think he potentially raises their ceiling a lot, but the actual like cost for doing so is really low. So I feel like you have to do it because it's
Yeah.
a really high expected value play.
I think he makes Mike Thomas better, which is the big part of this
I don't.
signing.
That's incredible to even think about, right?
Yeah, I know. How do you make Mike Thomas better, and how do you draw pressure off of Kamara, who's been great at catching this season, and Mike Thomas, who's having one of the better wide receiver seasons ever?
Yeah.
I mean,
actually
it's
wild
like
to think
that.
about.
That's the best part of this signing is it draws attention away from your other two bigger assets.
Also, who's under center for that team?
Oh yeah, Drew Brees.
I mean,
Who's
yeah, that
like
helps.
playing phenomenally this year.
Who has
and
one of the best
most accurate
yeah.
arms
I
in
think
NFL
he's at.
history.
Is he at 83%
It's
completion
ridiculous.
percentage this year? Or
I think
some
he's
literally
80 something.
Some literally incomprehensible
That's a
percentage like that.
50-50 ball
And-
wide receiver's dream.
It's not even like some Sam Bradford completion percentage, where his average air yards per attempt is like 2.3.
It's like a 7.
Yeah, he's
somewhere
literally
around
he's
there. It's
literally
really
he's
good.
chucking the ball around.
All right. We've talked about that forever. We all on the same page. So let's circle back to the Saints. I think this makes them one. Where's the Super Bowl this year? Is it?
I have no clue. If it's in Louisiana, I feel really bad for literally anyone.
It's not.
It's
I thought
L.A. Miami.
Thought
Is it
it was in
Jacksonville?
the Meadowlands.
I don't know.
Let me check.
Wow.
You say the Netherlands?
No, it's in Atlanta. It's in Atlanta. We're all stupid. It's
Oh,
in
yeah,
Atlanta.
Yeah, it is.
It's in Atlanta.
It's in Mercedes-Benz.
It is. It absolutely
That's why
is.
they wanted to get
Yep.
the Migos to play.
Yeah, I was 100% advocating for Migos to be there, or Future. Literally any Atlanta-based artist.
But yeah, the Saints look good.
Yeah, the Saints look really good. They're the
Any
second best.
other teams? Any other? I mean, last week was kind of it's that midpoint in the season where nothing's really special, aside from like two of the best teams playing each other.
I genuinely believe that this trade puts them up. After the game, I was like the Rams
Above the Rams.
I was like
and Kansas City and Patriots.
I think that the Saints are the favorite to win the NFC. It's going to be tough to say Super Bowl, but it's interesting to. I mean, it's definitely plausible. Like if you, I mean, obviously,
The conference is definitely where I put them, depending on who they play on the lead up.
right.
I mean, I think LA is right there. I think they're pretty on neck, and I give the slight advantage to LA, very slight.
Well, what's interesting is that and Mello and I were talking about this. Is that Marcus Peters is trash? Like
He's really
Marcus
not good
Peters
this year.
got
Did you see his Twitter?
He got absolutely demolished by Mike Thomas. So there's no reason to believe Mike Thomas can't do it again, even if LA gets home field.
His Twitter was did you see Melo's Twitter? Just he was roasting.
Yeah, he was
Marcus the
Oh,
literally
entire
ripping
time.
him the entire
That's
game.
hilarious.
I
It was
just kept
actually
refreshing my feed just to see that
That's
because
so
it was
funny.
really funny.
With the Rams
But,
and Saints
yeah.
race, I think I got to give the Rams the edge just because of the division they play in. And
that defense, dude.
I mean-
they got shut down that one game, but that defense is good.
yeah, I don't know.
No,
What do you mean no?
they're like one of the better defenses to
Yeah,
play
they
in the
absolutely
past.
are.
How many years? I don't know.
They're not even the best defense in their division in the last 5 years.
It helps to be a dream team. It helps to be a perennial all-star team,
Yeah.
unlike what we've ever seen in the NFL before.
Yeah, but no, I mean, I think with the Rams, the biggest thing is you still have the Cardinals and the Niners and the Seahawks left in your schedule, whereas the Saints have to play
they haven't played the Panthers yet all year.
Yeah, the Saints have 2 games left against the Panthers. They got to play one more against the Falcons, one more against the
Yeah.
Bucks. Like the Bucks game, that should be an easy win, but the Falcons,
And the
they
Panthers are sneaky good. I feel like
No,
they're not
the
getting enough credit. And you guys all roasted me for this in the season.
is
I
true.
said they were going to make the playoffs.
I absolutely
true.
did not roast you with that for the beginning of the season
I
because I said they were a
thought
fringe
I
playoff
did.
team.
I did.
Oh yeah, we're on my side. It was YouTube bums.
I said
Hate
that.
you.
I said Atlanta was better than Carolina.
Yeah, that
And
one
I
did
also
not age
I
well.
also said that Atlanta was going to make the
Well,
NFC title game.
Well, he
Yeah,
also said the
probably.
Lions were going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, listen, I'm gonna die on that hill. There's no getting off that hill. Once you put yourself on it and they go 1-7 or whatever they are, you're done.
But what do you?
They're 2.
2-7.
They've definitely won 2 games. I
Okay.
They're
think.
3
Sorry.
and 5.
Wow, look at
Come
me.
on.
Pat myself on the
They're
back.
definitely going to
guys.
make it.
They're still in it.
They do. I saw. A
They
statistic.
could get in at 10 and 5.
I saw. A
10 and,
statistic. They have
excuse
a,
me, 10 and 6.
they have a 1.7% chance of making the playoffs. At this
Hey
point.
man, it's better than 0.
It's Buffalo's chance of getting the first overall pick.
It's,
I swear, I just saw that in Vegas. It's like a 1.
Who's got the?
Cardinals.
Oakland.
Oh really? Oh, that's right.
Oh
Oakland.
yeah, I
Oakland
forget
is
they're
not
that
good.
bad.
Grayson,
They're that forgettable.
Grayson,
Oh,
what do you think?
Whoa.
Whoa.
We forgot to talk about Nick Mullins.
Oh, that's right. He totally made it. He
my
made he made
God,
me
that
feel
was
like an
fun.
actual idiot. I
He
can't
made
believe
it.
it.
We were all wrong on that, but we all picked Oakland because we're idiots.
Whatever,
I
man.
stand by my.
Sometimes it'd be like
selection.
that.
I would have picked Oakland again too.
Yeah,
But
I
Nick
absolutely
Mullins,
would've picked
I mean, he
Oakland
did a
again.
lot, and that was a fun game to watch. I watched the first half, and then I watched the repeat or the
Replay.
the condensed game the next morning, and I was like,
Yeah.
this is just fun. He made George Kittle look great. I mean, it was so good.
You have a bias because he's on your fantasy team.
Well, and because he's
Just a
like
little
one of
bit.
the better tight ends. I love tight end football,
He
dude.
really is.
It's so much
Tight
fun.
end football being revolutionized over the last like 10 years in large
And,
part.
and George
because
Kittle's
of-
very reflection of that. I mean, he's so quick. He's so quick.
yeah.
Thank you to the New England Patriots.
Where's Jordan Reed in all this? In all
Being-
this
I don't know.
frenzy?
I don't know what you want from me, man.
I mean,
Sitting at
tight-
home.
It's bad enough. for
Tight
me
ends
as
are
it
some of
is,
the better
dude.
players in the NFL right now. and
Travis
everybody,
Kelsey's arguably the best.
Travis Kelce's the best tight end in
player.
football.
Yeah.
Travis Kelsey's the best tight end in football.
it's just fun. But Nick Mullins, credit where credit is due. We're all sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I'm not sorry.
I'm not sorry.
I mean,
I
I'm
think
sorry. He says he's sorry. He says he's sorry. Even in our hearts.
I'd pick the Raiders again, but
I mean, me too. But like, I'm sorry.
yeah,
All
Who
right.
do they play this week? Who does he play this week?
I don't know.
the Niners are
49ers?
on Monday Night Football against the Giants.
Oh, that's right. I forgot we're still putting the garbage Giants on Monday Night Football.
They could
Thank
do
you.
it again.
They-
Go Nick.
The NFL really.
Oh,
You're better than
man.
Eli.
Petition to get the NFL to take like a college football stance where
Yeah,
they can
right.
move game times and move games from Sunday
Dude,
to Monday.
scheduling Satan has been super busy this
flex
year in
some
the
games.
NFL.
I know they flex some
They
games
flex,
to
they
Sunday
flex Sunday.
night.
Yeah, they flex
it's,
Sunday.
I'm
it's
talking
the Sunday
like,
to Sunday,
let's
but it's
move-
not Sunday to
move
Monday.
Monday
Come
Night
on,
Football.
come on. You know
Well,
that
that really affects teams who
Yeah, but
are
if you,
playing Thursdays.
But if you
I mean,
do
it's
it,
not so bad.
but if you do it the Monday before, like if you do it Monday Night Football, right? If you do it the Monday before,
Okay.
if you do it like I'm saying, like the week before, that way they have time to prepare.
Did you know the Giants have played at least 7 primetime games over the last 2 years, which is
Yeah, it's
more
insane.
than they have
Well, it's
wins
'cause it's
over
'cause
the past 2 years.
It's because they want another OBJ catch, and they're not going to get it because
Yeah,
that catch will
congratulations.
never be recreated.
Well, I mean, it's not even that. It's the guy throwing him the ball is,
He's threw him the ball that
terrible.
time.
yeah. When was that? 3 years ago? 4 years ago?
Still, we gotta move. We gotta move on.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I'm sad.
have you
got
seen
20 minutes.
Evgeny Malkin's hit
No, I
on
haven't
TJ
seen
Oshie?
Malkin.
Timothy
annihilate-
Oshie.
Timothy
Full,
Oshie.
full name, respect, please.
Nothing but love for Caps.
Timothy Oshie. This was the hit that Malkin distributed to.
Oshie looks pretty unhappy about it.
Well, he looks slightly almost concussed, but just give me your thoughts on this, please. Yeah, it's fine.
Thanks, Alex. What? I'm sorry. Can you run that one by me again real quick?
All right, sure. Well, how
It
about-
doesn't look terrible the
Well,
first time you see it.
no.
Right, it looks like a shoulder check.
Yeah,
the
Stop.
first
yeah,
time
yeah.
you see it.
Stop. We're gonna let Ricky talk about this because he's the only one who hasn't seen it.
So if this was the NFL, he would be, I'm pretty sure, immediately ejected from the game from targeting because he intentionally goes high on a player who's kind of not looking at him, right? I mean, so he's obviously looking at him, but at the same time, like he's not expecting to get shoulder checked directly into his face. I don't know. I saw that Malkin was actually not suspended for this.
No, he was ejected from the game, and my thought is that was even harsh. I think Malkin just braced for impact there. I mean, I love Timothy Oshie. That's why I use his full name. But, I mean, Malkin just looked like he was getting ready for the hit, was going like for that. I mean, he must have moved to like 4
Yeah, so the
inches.
thing is, he didn't move
in
that
one
much,
direction,
but at the same
maybe.
time, it looked like he was trying to put his momentum into Oshie.
Well,
I don't
TJ
know, I
Oshie
don't know.
was really low too.
Was he,
I mean,
was he
fair.
disciplined?
Timothy
Was
Oshie,
Malkin
sorry.
disciplined?
Yeah, he
No.
got ejected.
Oh,
He
well,
got ejected.
He
Did
didn't
he
get
get any
ejected. He didn't get
further
ejected.
No,
discipline?
He didn't
no.
get ejected. He just got the 5-minute box.
No, he was out
He
of
was
the game.
ejected.
Yeah, it was a
I think
match
game
penalty.
misconduct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? Okay. No, I'm not gonna argue. Again,
I think that
I
was
didn't
fine.
watch the game.
I
I
think
saw
it
the
was
hit.
good.
So
I think what they did was fine. I mean,
See-
it wasn't a Tom Wilson hit where he was hitting him in open ice
Yeah.
and it was
Right.
blindsiding him.
Right.
I mean, Tom Wilson deserved to get suspended. Did he get 20 games? Did he deserve 20 games and that much money taken off? No. But I mean, he deserved to get suspended. Malkin doesn't deserve to get suspended. He deserves maybe a match or game misconduct.
That's the one thing with the NHL, which they're so inconsistent.
So inconsistent.
I think I sent you the video in a group chat of Milan Lucic,
Oh, it's
just
so
like
good.
tracking that guy and
Oh,
totally wrecking him.
Yeah. That was incredible. I loved every single
Granted,
second of it.
it was like there was stuff before that was
Yeah.
not caught, but
But
he
the context is
he
important
was
for that.
fined I think 10,000
Did he get suspended?
for that. But no, he avoided suspension.
You shouldn't get suspended for that. Come on.
And then I think it was last year that we had 3 players with the same exact penalty, like spearing, and it was 3 different outcomes. Crosby
Yeah.
did it, nothing.
Well,
and then
yeah.
like Draisaitl did
Golden
it,
boy.
and then
Yeah.
he gets fined, and then like Marchand does it, and he gets suspended.
Because
There's-
Marchand's a dirty player, quote unquote.
And it's even a guy like Lucic. I mean, he's no Tom Wilson. Stanley Cup champion Tom Wilson.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But he isn't
Put some
exactly
respect on his name.
he isn't exactly a saint either. Going back to his days in Los Angeles, so the NHL they handle it case by case, but there's no consistency.
I don't know how I feel about that either because I feel like if you're a repeat offender and you consistently do it, maybe you do deserve it.
I think
However,
there should be a baseline and then just get worse as it goes on.
well, that's kind of what they do.
Maybe.
That's what they try and do, but it doesn't work.
But they
I don't know.
just not even close.
I
to
feel
what
like
they
I
do.
feel like the context for suspensions matters, but only in the sense that they should get more severe as they go on. Not that they should be less severe at the start. In the sense that, like, if you look at it for a league average, like
if it's Crosby, because I mean,
if it's Crosby,
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. It's
You
like
can- you
well,
can
only
admit it.
only if it's
you can
Crosby.
admit it. It happens. He
don't
does
know.
some dirty stuff and gets away with a lot.
He's the golden boy. He's
Exactly.
the best player in the world.
Well,
He's probably eating dinner with Gary Bettman right now.
I know.
That's fine. order me something too.
NHL
Like
fans hate
smoking
Gary
cigars.
Bettman, right?
Yeah, why not?
What?
Y'all hate Gary Bettman?
I have a lot of mixed feelings about Gary
He's the
Bettman.
commish, right?
He does his
Yeah.
job very
Yeah.
well because he is a punching bag for all of fans hate, and the owners. None of it goes to the owners.
Okay.
So he does his job fantastically, and good for him. I hate him because he does it so fantastically.
So you want to talk about the draft?
I mean,
Drafts.
Oh, gee. Okay.
We're doing
I
this?
just want to talk about drafts in general, but I mean, a lot of it is specific to the NHL draft because I'm thinking a lot about it because I hate myself. And
Well, you're thinking about it because Jack Hughes.
and I'm also thinking about good young Americans who make me really excited. Being developed by the national program.
Can I
That's
get
that's
an-
great.
Can I get an America?
Heck yes.
Jack Hughes.
Thanks.
Jack Hughes.
Thanks, Austin.
That movie's great and so offensive.
yeah.
Yeah, you good?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm chilling. I just wanted to touch that.
I don't blame
Touch
you.
what?
The spring.
Oh, that. Sorry. I thought you were pointing at the camera.
We're getting off track here.
All right,
man.
so let's talk about drafts.
Yeah, draft.
I've got a couple things. So the Montreal Canadiens at number 3 overall picked Jesperi Kotkaniemi, the highest ranked center on the board because they needed a center. And on the board, they left Philip Zadina, Quinn Hughes, and then also Elias Pettersson. Wait, was that Elias Pettersson? No, Elias Pettersson was 2 years ago, wasn't he? But still, they did leave Elias Pettersson on the board when that came. So they're drafting for centers, and they're giving up talent such as Brady Tkachuk, Zadina, who might be better players, but they're not centers. So my question is, do you draft for position or do you draft for talent?
I would draft for a position because I think the biggest thing is it's really hard to judge how teams draft based off like pundit big boards because you don't know how teams rate individual players. So that's the thing is you can look at it like in the NFL. Mike Harper Jr. might rate, Bradley Chubb as the best prospect in the draft, but if you look at the actual draft, he got taken 4th. It's like each of the 3 teams in front of the Broncos, 5th. My bad. He got taken 5th. Each of the 4 teams in front of the Broncos could have rated someone else better than Chubb. They could have rated 4 players better than Chubb. So it's really hard to judge.
It also matters in sports about the need for the position.
Yeah,
For example, how
that's what I'm
important
saying.
how important is the position?
So it's
And so-
And centers? How important are centers?
it,
Right.
it curves a little bit in
Right.
sports. 'Cause
Stupid
if you
important.
have
Yeah.
if you have 8 players ranked ahead of Bradley Chubb
Mm-hmm.
and you need a defensive end, you're maybe not taking him. But if you
Mhm.
have 2 players ahead of Chubb, 3 players ahead of Chubb, you don't think the gap is that large between them in terms of overall like actual grades. And I think you take Chubb because need ultimately is for a lot of teams what's important, right?
Well, going back to that draft, right? In my opinion, and I said this on our podcast last year, Saquon Barkley is the best overall football player in that draft.
I think we both agreed on that, right?
Best athlete, best.
Baker.
So that was why. So, but when you're the Browns, right? Your quarterback was like Kevin Hogan the year
Yeah, I don't
before.
even know who QB was that year.
Yeah, so
I think
can't
he
even.
had like RG3 starting that year, I think.
No, I think
That was
wasn't
the year before.
He was definitely on
wasn't
there.
that
or something.
Brock. I don't remember.
I don't know. It was garbage.
Could've been.
I know Kevin Hogan started for them at least a few.
Anyway,
games.
we don't want to talk
regardless,
about the Browns QB situation
regardless,
last year.
regardless. So you needed a quarterback, and we all knew that they were going to take one, unless they had traded down, which
Yeah.
they obviously didn't.
We just didn't know who they're going to take. Except for
Exactly.
me, I knew
Yeah.
they were going to take.
well, yeah,
Thanks.
he called it
did
initially. It was
call it.
crazy.
You know who else called it? This guy.
You called it after I called it, but whatever.
Wow.
we're not
okay.
going to get
You
into it.
literally. You know
So,
what?
but what I'm saying is my main point is like it depends on the position that you need. Like, for example, this season, Buffalo needs lineman and wide receiver help. But if Nick Bosa's on the board, I guarantee you they take Nick Bosa because he's the best football player there. And that's maybe that's different in regards to just football, but if I remember correctly, like basketball, you draft like a ton of guards and.
I'm trying to think. There's one team that's really just drafted like best player available for the last couple years. I think it might be the Magic.
I was gonna say Sacramento.
Sacramento. No,
They
actually,
went. I mean, they
Sacramento's
went
had
Bagley,
some
Cauley Stein,
consistent. They took Fox.
LaBierce, De'Aaron Fox.
They've had some consistent. Like,
But I'm not sure if you do
draft
that in
philosophy.
hockey. I mean, I'm
Right.
looking at the 2017 draft. Let me pull it up again because I just
you absolutely do that in baseball.
I think out of
In
the
baseball,
2017
You
draft,
absolutely draft best
Baseball,
player,
it's
but-
always best player.
Yeah.
Elias Pettersson looks the best, and he was in a lot of cases. Oh, that's NFL. He was ranked as the highest European skater on the board, and number 1 overall in the 2017 NHL draft was, as soon as I can get it up, it was Heischer by the New Jersey Devils, which seems interesting when Nolan Patrick, Heiskanen, and Pettersson were all on the board.
When I look at hockey, teams have their needs. Like you said, Montreal is in need of a center. I don't look at it from a position standpoint. I look at it as forwards and defensemen.
Yeah,
Whereas,
I agree.
granted, I mean, it's going to be the same.
I don't know. I mean, centers are a different.
It's going to be
animal,
the
too.
same rush. Like, obviously, you have your center, your left winger, and your right winger. However, if you have a guy like Elias Pettersson with that talent, you can still put the puck on his dick. He's still going to do something. He doesn't generate.
He is a playmaker.
Exactly. He doesn't, I guess, he's not in the center of it all, like a center is. But if you need a center, but there's a guy like Pettersson, the talent level of Pettersson, which, hindsight's 2020, we see what he's doing now in Vancouver. And not that Kokoniemi's been bad. I mean, he scored his first 2 goals in the same game. But I look at it more as forward depth and defense depth rather than I need a center, let me go get a center.
Well,
it's not like football.
Well, and
That is
that's
interesting.
well, I don't know because I don't agree with you. I think you're oversimplifying the center role. I mean, you got face-off positions and then puck distribution, which can't be taught. I mean, that's something you
Yeah.
grow into. And I think particularly the puck distribution, you look at assists. I mean, that's the most important thing a center does. Not
Yeah.
a face-off. I mean, you can win back a face-off after losing the initial draw, but you cannot teach that puck distribution, and that's something that defensemen and centermen will always have the edge on. Wings need to learn how to revolve around the play, not be the play. Centers need to be the play, and I think Kokoniemi provides that, as well as a good face-off percentage, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, it also depends on what kind of wing are you? Are you going to be like Joe Pavelski and just hang out in front of the net, or like Ovechkin who has his office, or are you going to be like a playmaker,
Like who?
think off the top of my head, someone who has
Exactly.
the puck. Like Pavelski's a winger who doesn't usually control the puck, unless Thornton's injured and he has to play center.
No, it's because it's a center's role.
And he does when he can't do it when he plays center. But Couture, he's a winger and he's
All right, he's a good example.
a playmaker.
Is Brandon Gallagher a center or is he wing? Because he's sublime playmaker. I can't remember off the top of my head.
So I mean,
But yeah, I agree.
I see what you do want a center. You do want a guy who's going to create that offense for you, but it's not out of the question to put that in your
Gallagher.
wing's hand.
He's a wing. Gallagher's a wing. He's also 5'9". Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was so short. But yeah, I don't know. I think you draft for talent in the NHL, and that's my hottest take ever.
That's my.
And at 2019, it's going to be really interesting to see where it goes because there's really not a lot of defensive depth in this draft. I mean, the number one, according to hockeyprospect.com, top 31, which is a reputable site. Seriously.
Right.
It really is. Jack Hughes is number one.
Of
That's
course.
pretty much consistent. And then after that is Capo Caco. Capo Caco
Thanks.
from Switzerland. No, Finland.
Hmm.
There go the Finns again.
Yeah.
They're so good, man.
You love
2 weeks in a row.
They're producing great young talent, and they're I mean that national team. But and then he's second, and then at center is third again, Alex Turquette, who is another American from Illinois, I believe, who is looking real good. And if the team at number 2 desperately needs a center, do they go for him or do they go for Capo Caco, who is the number 1 ranked European skater and probably the best skater in this draft? I think Jack Hughes is still not as good as a skater as Capo Caco, or how we pronounce his name. I'm butchering it, I'm sure. And that's really interesting to me because there's a steep drop off because Turquette's good, but he's not as good as Capo. He's not even close.
That is really interesting. I think that would depend on which team is
Exactly.
is third or second.
And how's that? I don't know. It's not consistent, and it's always an interesting take.
Yeah,
I guess.
definitely. But I think we all kind of have the same narrative in which you draft for player if you have the luxury to draft for best player available. That's a luxury to have. But at the same time, like if you're desperate for a need, if you need a center, if you need a keeper, if you need whatever, you have to draft that. You have to get the best player available for that. And if he doesn't necessarily warrant it, that's why teams, especially in the NFL, they trade back.
You trade down.
You
Yeah.
trade back.
And for a lot of teams, like there's been a lot of talk about draft philosophy for front offices over the course of NFL history,
You
where
certainly can't do that in the NHL.
specific people. And
Oh yeah.
No, because I mean, you get those top 5 picks, and then everything else after that is a steep drop, pretty much, and that's pretty consistent
Oh, okay.
year after year.
Interesting.
specific people in NFL front offices have tendencies to draft for need or draft best player available.
Yes.
Very nice.
That's been a very big thing.
Mhm.
All right.
So I want to quick
Drafts.
quick throw out this not hot take at all. Denver's fun. And I
Denver's
tweeted
really
this
good.
out the other day, and nobody really understood what I was talking about. But Denver is a lot of fun to watch. I watched the
Yeah.
entire Boston and Denver game, and
Watched all of Jamal Murray had the
Jamal Murray had
48.
48 points. He tried to get 50, and
Yeah,
Kyrie
he
wasn't
he
very
jacked up a
happy about
three.
it.
It bricked. Kyrie trucked the ball into the stands, got fined $25K.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I wanted to throw out there for NBA notes was that I really enjoy watching the Denver Nuggets play.
Nuggets are really good. They're, I think,
And-
in probably like the second tier of teams in the West right now.
I can't wait to watch Vice City.
It's so good.
The Heat,
It's so
Heat
good.
City uniforms. If you haven't seen them, they're so nice.
They're
this
so good.
year.
I mean, they're really close to what they were last year.
Yeah, they're
aren't
just-
they?
they're just
But
black.
They're still nice.
They're
Yeah.
so nice.
Want to do
And the new court. Oh my!
the new court looks
oh
really
my
nice, too.
gosh, it's so cool.
So elite teams in the NBA.
Yeah, who looks good? Tell me because I don't know.
So I'm going to tell you. So
That's my elite team. Is I think Denver. I mean, obviously they're not Golden State, but
So one of the things that really surprised me.
yeah,
is
let's just
that-
not talk about Golden State because
So for, yeah, okay. So Golden State's there. I think
we all hate them.
I don't know about all of us, but I think the actually legit teams in the NBA. There's I think 3 teams in the NBA that are ranked top 10 in offensive and defensive efficiency that aren't Golden State. And if I remember correctly, they are the Bucks, Raptors, and Blazers.
I love it. Love the Raptors too.
The Raptors are so good this year. So is Milwaukee under Budenholzer. But the biggest thing for me is
Wow, that Kawhi's good or something.
Yeah, right. It's crazy.
It's almost like he's the best player in the East, and everybody I said was like, "Oh no, what about JoJo."
Yeah, no,
Not
definitely
discrediting
JoJo.
JoJo,
Definitely
but
not
at the same
JoJo.
time, this is Kawhi Leonard.
It's either
man.
Kawhi or Giannis, man. Honestly,
I forgot what Kawhi Leonard looked like
No, but
playing because he wasn't playing for so
Yeah.
long.
I think the biggest surprise there is the Blazers actually being really good, considering how badly they went onto the playoffs last year. And then, like the manner that did it, he got
Well,
swept in the first round as a
Who
3
did they
seed.
play?
They played the Pelicans. But that's the thing is like you ran into a
Playoff Drew
buzzsaw.
Holiday.
I mean, that's the thing. It's like if I'm the Blazers,
and Rondo.
if I'm the Blazers, I have to try to look at that.
AD.
I have
Sorry.
to try to look at
Who's
that
that?
and
Who's that?
like almost discount it because your regular season was so good and your pieces are good. And if you figure out that you can actually have Evan Turner be like your point guard on the second unit, and you're actually giving Zach Collins playing time, and Nurkic is still playing.
Do you remember how good? Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt you. But
No,
do
it's
you
all
remember how
good.
good Evan Turner was at Ohio State?
That was before my time as a college
He was
fan, as even a
so
basketball
good.
fan. But like,
He
there's a
was
reason
so
I watched him play on the Sixers and he was good, and I watched him play on the Celtics and he was pretty good, even if he was kind of.
But he never
memey.
lived up.
But that's the thing is he never lived up to it because I think he was
He's
miscast.
the number 2 overall pick, man.
I think he was miscast. That's the thing. I think his role is as a ball handler.
I like how
And not-
Ricky said
not a
he
wing
didn't want
that
to talk
got
about
slotted in.
basketball. And now he's talking about basketball.
Well,
I
I
love
mean, it was the one note there. We haven't talked about the NBA all day.
I know.
So I
No,
just
I
wanted
like
to throw
it.
it out there
I love you.
before. I mean, we're
I mean
crunching
it.
down on
Yeah,
time
yeah.
here.
So
but
literally after this,
but
it's going to be the
before-
rundown and then the picks
let's-
and NASCAR fact.
yeah, I was gonna say, let's just get
I love
into.
that
You want to get in the
aspect.
rundown?
Only if you want to.
Well, no, honorable mention to the Utah Jazz, who are I think
Yes.
the
Yeah. Yes.
And the
seventh or-
Wizards.
seventh or eighth.
Absolutely.
No,
No,
we're
no,
not.
I think Boston's
No.
gonna. Do you think Boston's gonna get it together?
Yeah, I think they have to. They have too much talent
Yeah.
on their starting 5 to not get it together.
So,
they're
I-
just not there right now.
Oh,
Definitely.
that's
Yeah, he's-
sweet. Oh my
For those
goodness,
of you that
that's
can't
a Larry
see this,
Bird
Jake
sock.
is wearing a Larry Bird sock today. You got to pay respect to the legend.
Is it just one?
No,
Oh, it's
no,
two.
it's
It's
matching.
two.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
2 socks. That's great. All right, good job.
Respect.
All
All
right,
right, we
I'll
gotta
do
go to
my
the
rundown
rundown
if
now.
you're ready for me to do my rundown. Since
Yeah.
we're gonna increase accountability on this show and
Accountability
see
on the
how
show is
good
going
I
to be a thing
am.
now.
we can no longer be bums here, boys.
Yeah.
Let's get it going.
Come on, if we're
Let's
gonna-
get
if we're
that
gonna-
30% correct.
If we're going to make fun of me
Fire
for
it
picking the
off.
Lions, they're going to make fun of Austin for getting picks wrong.
3, 2, 1. 1 minute. All right. Detroit at Chicago. It's a 1:00 game. I'm picking Chicago because I'm not a moron. New Orleans at Cincinnati. I'm taking New Orleans because of the show they put on. Cincinnati's good, but they're not that good. Atlanta at Cleveland. I'm taking Atlanta, but I think Cleveland's going to put up a good game, and I think Jarvis Landry's due for a big week. Finally, I mean, I'm looking at his stats because I'm a fantasy owner, and it's not very good. He has a couple breakouts, but that's it. New England at Tennessee. New England because Belichick exists. Jacksonville and Indianapolis is one of those I kind of I'm curious about because which Blake Bortles turns up. Arizona at Kansas City. Buffalo at New York. I'm taking New York. Sorry, Jake. Washington at Tampa Bay. I'm taking Washington because Tampa Bay is I don't know. Los Angeles at Oakland. LA. It doesn't even matter which LA I'm talking about. Miami at Green Bay because Miami. Seattle at Los Angeles. But I think it's going to be a better game than people think. Dallas at Philadelphia. I don't know, but I think I'm taking Philadelphia because Philadelphia's New York at San Francisco. I'm taking San Francisco. If Nick Mullins is that. Denver, Minnesota, Baltimore on Houston on the bye. just at time.
You did it.
So did you pick Jacksonville or Indianapolis?
He's
Oh,
taking
sorry.
Jacksonville.
No, I'm taking Indianapolis. I'm
Indy?
sorry, I didn't.
Wow.
I don't think I
wow.
actually made my pick.
Yeah,
I'm
you just
taking
said
Indy.
Jacksonville, Indianapolis. It's interesting.
I don't know
And then
which
you
Blake
moved
Bortles
on.
is going to show up next game.
Forgot to say it. Indianapolis is definitely.
Okay.
Andrew Luck is getting better
He's
week
back.
by
He's
week.
actually back, by the
He's
way.
getting week by
And
week.
Who
Andrew
wins
Luck.
tonight?
What's the game tonight? Steelers, Panthers.
Oh,
I'll
I
take.
forgot to say
oh,
that.
man,
'cause
that's
we
so
were
rough.
taking-
I'll take the Panthers. And by Panthers, I mean
I'm taking
Steelers.
Carolina.
It's
taking-
at Pittsburgh.
I'm taking
I'm
the
taking
Steelers.
Pittsburgh.
I'm taking Carolina, but it's going to be a close one.
So two Carolinas and two
I thought-
Pittsburghs.
Yeah, no, I'm taking the Steelers.
Rick switched.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's okay.
By Panthers, I mean Steelers.
All right.
NASCAR fact.
Cool. Yeah. What is it?
Huge news this week. Kevin Harvick won last week, which gave him automatic bid into Miami, but his car failed post-race inspection.
Uh-oh.
So his win was encumbered, and he was stripped of his win and docked 40 points. And it's the first time that's ever happened in the playoffs where a guy's been taken out of the next round after his car failed post-tech.
Wow.
That's really
Wow.
fascinating.
That's
All right.
rough.
That's a good fact. Proud of you.
Thanks, Grayson.
Thanks you for tuning in. We'll be here next week, as every week, I think.
Yeah, every week.